Greetings, Earthlings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to Wizdom Dropz, your source for daily drops of wisdom at Savvy Cat Astrology. My name is Tanya, and today we are discussing Jupiter's recent rewind retrograde back into the sign of Aquarius. And it was in Pisces, and now it's not. Basically, it appears as if it has gone backwards through the heavens and is now again in Aquarius. And, that's going to be in effect throughout December of 2021. So in this video, we're discussing what does that mean? What is the relevance of this particular time frame? And what does it mean once Jupiter is done with this visit in Aquarius post-December this year and enters back into Pisces? So all this and more. And before we jump in, make sure you like the video if it brings you any value. Subscribe if you're new here and you vibe as we is building the tribe. And last but not least, if you are a student of astrology and you want to up your chops, you want to know how to read a chart once and for all, whether it's your chart, your lover's chart, your friend's chart, a stranger's chart, a chart of an event, and all that, and a bag of banana chips. Link to enroll thyself in astrology school is down below. This is a 6-month intensive program. We meet live every single week over Zoom. It is so dope. The people in the container are of an utmost high vibration. It is literally a blast every single Sunday. You get, in addition to that, recordings, PowerPoints, live coaching beyond the scope of class throughout the week, should you need it. And you get 2 one-on-one sessions with me. Just a little cherry on top, you know what I'm saying? To be used however you need. All right, that's going to be the last week I'm enrolling, folks, though. So seriously, it's ready. So if you're ready to join us, it's time, baby. Our boat is launching. You feel? So Jupiter in Aquarius is revisiting to Saturnine themes, and Jupiter is the planet of philosophy. Let's just ground into that for a moment to understand the framework we're working in, right? So Jupiter is the philosophy of yourself around your view to the world, around what you bring to the world, around what the world is, how the world functions, what things are, who people are, what cultures are, the way that you organize your beliefs, right? Jupiter is all that. It's also your faith and your connection to spirituality. So it's kind of like the pulse on your spiritual barometer, if you will. It kind of tells you how you feel about your spirit guides, about the notion of spirit and creator and force, the power, whatever you want to call it, God, goddess, you know what I'm saying? The divine, whatever that word is for you, that is Jupiter. Jupiter is that connection to that energy for you. So like in your chart, it's going to tell you that. And in transit, as we're talking about today, kids, it's going to tell you about just your kind of passing experience of your connection to faith and spirituality, just as much as it's going to tell you about your kind of like joy and pleasure at any moment, and finances and abundance and wealth, because Jupiter is abundance. It is the greater benefic, so to speak. So it's about amplification and making things large and blown larger than life. So it rules these kind of magnanimous gravitas people who have a large aura, right? A big energy. That is Jupiterian. Philosophers, sages, wisdom keepers and seekers, travelers, professors, etc. Jupiter. All the value I just gave you is absolutely a fraction of what astrology school is. Astrology school is not just the rote listening to what I'm telling you. Astrology school is you take this information and then you immediately apply it in a context that is like a fun game that I construct for your mental process in collaboration with your fellow peers. It is so dope and fun. It's like super like engaging, because the great thing is you can take what I say and then immediately apply it. And guess what? Brain development, that's how you learn. You don't learn through just sitting there being a sponge. You learn through applying the sponge. So I work your brain like you're in a really fun gym. And by the end of class, you like know your shit when it comes to astrology. It's so fun. Link to enroll yourself down below. Literally the last week, kids. Last week. Be there or be square. Okay. Now, with that said, we understand Jupiter. Now let's ground into the Aquarius of it all, and let's ground into the Pisces of it all. I need to remind y'all, because all y'all modern folks, sometimes we forget and we need to recollect that Jupiter is in fact the ruler of Pisces. And everybody's out there like, oh my God, I thought it was Neptune. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. But Neptune is the modern ruler. And if you're going to ignore the OG original ruler, what is you doing? Astrology is literally like this incredible art form slash science. And they gave us everything we need as astrologers from the beginning to be badass astrologers. So the second you forget your original ruler, man, you're losing the game. You feel? All right, I'm off my soapbox, but it's real. Digression aside, Jupiter is the original ruler of Pisces. Therefore, when Jupiter's in Pisces, it's like whoop, whoop, Pisces party, whoop, whoop. You bring abundance, you bring the spirit, you bring the vibe, you bring the joy, you bring the peace, you bring the spiritual downloads, the intuition, all the psychic zhuzh. That's the Jupiter in Pisces, you understand? We just had that flirting little passing of an influence for the last few months, but now Jupiter had to go skeet and back all into the Aquarius. Now let's ground into this. Aquarius, y'all, this is gonna go deep, and Spirit gave me this message today. So whoever's still in this video listening to this shit, y'all are up on some next level insight, because my guides blessed it on me, and I'm like, cool, thank you. And I'm about to bless it on you. So check it out. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. You understand? In ancient astrology. Yes, everybody, Uranus is the modern ruler. I respect and honor that as well. Moving right along. Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. And if you look at the lore of the sign of Aquarius and its establishment as a sign in the zodiac, okay? Look at the story, everybody. Look at the story. The story goes something like this, if you don't know. Saturn rules Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign, is the sign that goes along with the idea of the water bearer. The water bearer, this is what you don't hear every time everybody brings up the water bearer. I'm about to go a step further. You ready for this? Astrology school's like 10 steps ahead of this. Just saying, just saying. The Nile. It ruled the flooding of the Nile, and therefore, you understand the significance of that. Let's dive into that. This is ancient wisdom, y'all. Get with it. Get lit with me a second here. Listen, the Nile, when it flooded in Egypt, okay, and Alexandria, this like idea of the larger ancient old world that was all connected. You know what I'm saying? This larger life force of this geographic region. When Egypt, the Nile flooded, this was the life force of the community. Farming could happen, abundance could happen, life could happen. Everything is connected to water. Have you ever heard activists or people out there growing say water is life? It's true. Biologically speaking, every being that is of organic nature, that is biological, right, requires a certain amount of water. Water is literally life. And Aquarius, being an air sign that is known as the water bearer, corresponds to the ancient times of when the Nile would flood, and when also throughout the lore there would be a larger flood that annihilated everything in existence. Now, everybody, ancient wisdom time, Saturn Chronos, library, document of knowledge, historical annotation, Chronos, Saturn rules Aquarius. You understand? Saturn rules Aquarius. We're going deep today. The ancient way of Saturn, okay, is to deny, delay, and this is the true vibe of today. This is what my guides have given me for an insight. Saturn is that part of yourself when it's in Aquarius, because Saturn also rules Capricorn. When it's in its air sign, aka Aquarius, versus its earth sign, aka Capricorn. When Saturn is in its air sign, Aquarius, okay, this is when Saturn becomes about hating on the part of yourself that you wish you could change. It's about hating the part of yourself. It's like this. This is the perfect thing. You made a mistake, right? Later on in life, you realize, damn, I made a mistake. And now at the point of life that you're in is you're having that moment of realizing, damn, I made a mistake. You can't go back to that other point in time where the mistake was made, because it was just meant to be what it was. And it sucks because you're in that moment of reflection like, damn, I made a mistake. But there's no way you can go back per se. You understand? There's no way you can like undo what happened. So what do? In that moment, there's this part of yourself that you want to like disassociate from. There's this part of yourself that you can gain hatred for, or just this disdain, the sense of disdain and bitterness. And that, my friends, is Saturnine. And let's go into this. Let's go into this. This is for the real ones today. I'm doing a real one video. If y'all are here with me, y'all are in some original stuff. Y'all are ready to go deep in astrology school. This is a 6-month program for you who want to get yourselves on this level, practicing in real life, charging for readings, doing whatever you want to do, making your own damn course. Blessed course. You understand? I'm here for that kind of energy. Let's build people up who want to keep this craft alive and share it with other people, because this is real knowledge, real old school knowledge. So let's go into this. Saturn is death. Yes, we know this. That's rudimentary. Moving forward, Saturn is the original Pluto. Are you connecting the dots yet? Everybody wants to say Pluto is death. Who was death before Pluto? You got to understand that's a newbie planet on the block. Pluto as a character in mythology is ancient, but the planet in the astrological palette is not. It is newbie level, you know? Digression aside, Saturn is the original death. OG death is Saturn. You put Saturn in an air sign, and it has to do with the death of a social aspect of yourself. Now, a mistake, this energy of outcasts, is also ruled by Saturn. This energy of a flaw that led to a critical failure or some type of annihilation or ending or dismantling. Something that is, it is crumbled, it is decayed, it is rotten. All of these things are Saturn words, you have to understand. So Saturn, right, this Saturn ruled energy that Jupiter, bringing it full cycle, we had to go into that so you can understand the Jupiter in Aquarius, real ones, right? So Jupiter is now in Aquarius. I outlined clearly for you what Jupiter is in depth, okay? And now I'm going to outline for you again what Saturn is. You already had that in depth. Saturn is the energy of death and decay and denial and the outcast. What is within ourselves, something that we do not want to integrate, something that we do not want to deal with, something that we want to separate ourselves from. Where is this disassociative nature in this larger Saturn thing coming from? It's coming from Saturn being emblematic and is being an embodiment. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's the symbol of outcast energy. Saturn is the symbol of like the hermit and the one on the fringe. Because keep in mind, kids, that Saturn is the furthest out planet in the original planetary palette. And the ancients believed that the further out a planet was from the perspective of the sun, aka Earth, from their vantage point, well, that's not true, but from Earth, the further a planet was out from Earth, okay, that had more impact on us. So Saturn being the furthest out planet, relatively speaking, to the time that they were practicing with astrology, they were using the planets they were, because they were the visible planets with the naked eye, right? Because they were using those planets, Saturn was the furthest out in their planetary palette. So they believe that Saturn had the most power out of any other planet in the planetary palette, which is trippy. You know what I'm saying? It's real trippy. And we go into why that is in astrology school. We actually just went into some of that last week. It was really fun, really deep. I had a conversation with a student today about this, actually. Very cool topic, very deep topic. Lots more to say on that. A lot more to say on that, but I'm not going to say it here. I'm not going to say that here. Ancient wisdom teachings, y'all. Ancient wisdom teachings. Yo. With that said, I want to get into more of this. Jupiter is in Saturn's sign. So Jupiter is backing up into Aquarius through the end of December. So this is literally all about revisiting the sense of what is it within yourself that you are disassociating from. And keep in mind, a retrograde cycle is a reversal in time. It's a revisiting. It's when a planet, it's like it's been appearing to go one way, right? And then all of a sudden, goes backwards. That's a retrograde. So it's returning back to where it once was and revisiting things of the past, because eventually at the end of December, it's going to go skeet again and go forward into Pisces. Okay. So now we're getting into that portion of the video. Now the Jupiter is in, okay, Aquarius through December, and it's revisiting what we previously had to deal with there, and it's putting it to bed, it's putting it to rest, it's putting it to its end. Okay, and what is that? Now that we've gone into all this explanation of all these different things, these different components, I'm going to do what good astrologers do and synthesize. And this is a skill I teach you in astrology school. You have to take the parts. That's part of being a good astrologer. But the next step in that is the synthesizing, meaning you have to bring it together and make it into a holistic interpretation. So you, as a student of astrology watching this video for however many minutes you've been watching this video now, you see how each part of these things fits, okay, in this portion of the video. Going in, entering, whoop, through the portal. Jupiter in Aquarius through December 2021, sorry. This is an energy of our faith in our society, our faith in our collective, our faith in our system and our societal structures. Why? Because Jupiter is not in Capricorn anymore. That's so last year, that's so old news. That's the more ancient systems and also the more like fallen systems, ironically. Now, the advanced version of all these systems, the more like 2.0, if you will, version of all these systems, the more integrated, the more social, the more communally minded rather than extractive, okay, systems. This is Aquarian, okay? Now Jupiter is in that version and vibration of Saturn, right? And it's revisiting that. It was there during this massive conjunction. You heard about the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, literally the dawning of the age of Aquarius a year prior to when Jupiter exits Aquarius and enters Pisces. Isn't that just celestial poetry? Let's rewind and spell that out again. The great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn that marks the new rulership, which TONIA did a video on, a badass one at that it explains the precession of the equinox, link somewhere around this page, okay? And, you know, moving forward, that December date that happened, 1 year later, the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius, 1 year later, Jupiter leaves Aquarius because it's finalizing its retrogradation, its retrograde cycle, and it's moving forward into Pisces, and with full force, And again, as you saw in the beginning of this video, Jupiter rules Pisces. So this gives it more dignity, more strength. We've had that energy flirting with us for the past few months, right? Now, with that said, you put the Jupiter in the retrograde, we're reflecting over the systems, we're reflecting over the governments, we're reflecting over how to create our new societies, we're going into tribal communities, we're going into larger networks that are more localized, because Aquarius is about the larger groups and collectives, but it's also about functioning at a level that is big enough to see other people's perspectives within that collective. So sometimes fragmentation, ironically, or what looks like fragmentation, perhaps a bunch of individual little pods, right? That is what is required in order to have this larger kind of unification. So don't be surprised if there's talk about like splitting up different sorts of government in the coming, definitely in the coming 20 years. We're going to have like many different larger kind of systems at play. That's my perception of what's happening. It's not going to be this like technocratic thing. I'm not attuning into that vibration. I'm sending my energy, and I believe that we'll have more of an intentional community structure around us in this world, and that we'll have different pods of communities and people living based on our beliefs and how we want to function in space. And also, Uranus and Taurus is at this party, everybody, and that's helping us enliven and awaken our earth energy and our connection with how to get back to the earth, and that's through like organic farming and connection with other healing means, right? Like through even forest healing and so forth and so on. So there's just so many different things that we're going to be doing in this coming time frame. And when Jupiter is revisiting through December of 2021, I think a lot of these topics that I just spoke on are going to be coming to prominence, to highlight. I think we're going to be seeing more and more advanced, innovative agricultural systems that are healing, not just this craptastic, technocratic empire stuff where, if you haven't heard, Monsanto and Gates and all them, they be putting out these little chips and these computers and these little data reporting satellites and farmers freaking fields that they're taking over right and left. He's buying land like it's hotcakes off, half off for the season, like a damn fool. And everybody's, selling their land to him. Well, not everybody, but he's buying up the land. And we can't let that, continue. People need to reclaim this land, and it's not his land. It'll never be his land. The land belongs to this planet, period, point blank. And he ain't gonna live forever, you understand? And people are gonna co-op and take over stuff, and he's just gonna have to deal with it, because like that's just what it is. This is what it is. And you know what, this is, nobody can stop the dawning of the new era that is Aquarius, because let us remind you, Aquarius is the water bearer, and it is the great flood, and it is the notion of the great flood. And the great flood will apply where it needs to apply. It will not apply to everywhere. It will apply where it needs to apply. It will apply to where it needs to apply, to the point to where it will obliterate and eliminate what needs to go, because Saturn, again, is what we disassociate. This is what my guides gave me. I'm trying to give you. It's what we disassociate from. It's what we hate about ourselves and disassociate from. And guess what? Saturn is opposing what? The luminaries, yo. Look at the chart. It's spelled out in front of you. Saturn signs, Capricorn and Aquarius, are opposing the sun and the moon. You know what the sun and the moon are? Luminaries. You know what the luminaries are? The OG planets, the divine father, the divine mother. You understand? Sun and moon. And so Saturn is opposing all that. Saturn, therefore, is Satan. You understand? It is what is antithetical to God or to goddess or to light. And so therefore it is the aspect of the divine that is self-destructive to the divine. Do you comprehend? Comprende? It is, again, I summarize for you for like the 5th time in this video, Saturn is what we disassociate from within ourselves. We ourselves are in fact divine. Therefore, Saturn is what we ourselves disassociate from within ourselves. Yo, astrology is so fucking deep. Don't you just love astrology? I love astrology. So for real though, like think about that. Jupiter, the great benefic, the spirit connection is, visiting Saturn's sign again, but it is not Capricorn. It is Aquarius. It is the water bearer. It is the great flood. And yes, in its negative shadow vibrations, it's the technocrat. And alas, let us not forget that the great flood is always controlled by spirit, never a technocratic empire. A technocratic empire can run anything that they can, but at the end of the day, who is ultimately behind the wheel of any given manifestation that determines how something is going to move forward, it's always spirit. It's always spirit, and you and me are reflections of spirit, and it's not time to sit back and just ride the rodeo through. To some extent, sure, but it's time to take a stand. It's time to start aligning yourself with things that mean more to you at a personal level. It's time to get in communities and intentional spaces with people where you know you connect, where you know that you align, where you know your energy is in the right place and being received and doing things that it should be doing, because it feels activated, it feels alive, it feels spirited, it feels joyful to you, and it brings smiles to your face, and it brings warmth to your heart, and it makes you feel full and fulfilled, and it makes you feel like you have a place, like you have a meaning in this world. You understand? That is the energy we're all entering into. Those of us who are ascending into the age of Aquarius, that is the energy that is the age of Aquarius. So align with that. And as you continue to witness as an observer of the heavens, as an astrologer throughout the next months, throughout December of 2021, as you continue to witness, okay, this energy of Jupiter, the divine spirit connection, the philosopher, the sage, the wisdom keeper, your faith in the sign of the water bearer, put your faith in the energy of life that is water, the water bearer. Put your faith in the energy of the Nile flooding that is the water bearer, and put your faith in the great flood that is taking place, not that causes so much trauma to people in the real floods that are happening, because that is happening. There are real floods as well of energy. You and I are energy. You and I, our bodies are mostly water. How could we be anything but a flood together if we put our forces as one? Yo, that shit's channeled. Do you even hear the words coming out of my mouth? I can't even take credit. Like, do you understand? Like, do you really understand? I hope you see it. I hope you understand what's happening here. Like, this is actually a time for us to awaken. This is a time for us to align with our higher selves, because it's not a time for shaky energy. It's not a time for maybe. It's a time for yes and definitely. And you know what? What's going away? Who knows? But what's coming in, you decide. Do you understand? What's going away? Who knows? But what's coming in is what you decide. That's the thought I want to leave you on. I'm going to say it one last time. What's going away? Who knows? But what's coming in is what you decide. Bring it in for yourself, actualize, manifest. Aquarius is about the systems, and understand that if systems exist, which they always will, they are either created for you or by you. And with that reality, you as a conscious co-creator being can create systems that work for you and not against you, that are made by people and entities, more importantly, that are inorganic and do not have your best intentions in mind, okay, on your behalf. Do not engage in those systems. Create your own systems. Your systems are part of a network. Your systems are in alignment with people you resonate with people you align with energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and conceptually. People you feel a meeting of the minds with, a mutual respect. This is Aquarius. You understand? This is the age of Aquarius. And connect back with this earth, because at the end of the day, water is life. And water is always in Earth space. Okay, this planet is an amazing planet that has incredible technology within it. Just the very nature of how nutrients cycle through this planet is incredible at a scientific level. If you sit and just contemplate metamorphosis, if you sit and you just contemplate photosynthesis, if you sit and you just contemplate chloroplast in a cell of a plant, get with it, y'all. Earth is intelligent. These technocrats, this inorganic stuff, you know what computers are? They're just mimicking what's already going on out in nature. You want to know something about a computer? Go and talk to a fungal network. You understand? Go and talk to a fucking fungal network, okay? All right, I'm going to end this video because you know your girl got passion. I got the fire. All right, with that said, through next time, until next time, the stars be with you. Wizdom Dropz Astrology School. Link to enroll thyself for the last week. Honey, the last week. Down below. Time is ticking. Chronos is on the clock, okay? Like and subscribe. May the stars be with you. Peace.